Today's video, we're gonna talk about Google Ads ad copy and how it should be written like this to get the best results on your ads. That is written at a 5th grade reading level. A lot of you guys don't understand that getting fancy or cute with your Google Ads ad copy is not the way to go if you consistently want click-through rates that are gonna be higher than your competition, so that Google prefers to show your ad and larger and higher up in the list over your competitors, and click-through rates of not 5, 6, 7, 8%, but 10, if not 20, if not 30%, which we've had time and time again at our firm using this basic formula here that I'm gonna share on this video. Generally speaking, when it comes to online marketing, and especially with Google Ads, the less that you make the user have to think, the more money you're gonna make. You wanna make it as simple as possible. The more simple you make it for the user to decide, the more money you make. And this is especially true with Google search ads. I'll go through the mechanics behind this, what makes this actually possible. And then if you stay to the end of the video, I'll talk about how much you can actually make doing this as well. So if you're not actually getting sky-high click-through rates, this is the video for you. So getting into the content here, people actually are using fancy words, as well as I see a lot of people still using abbreviations in their ads to get words in there that they couldn't normally fit in there due to the 30-character limit on a headline, and they're not getting the best results. Which, by the way, if you did not know, 90% of your results on Google Ads, in terms of developing your click-through rate, which is the whole point of making an ad and doing ad testing, it's not to increase the conversion rate, because the conversion rate's increased by making the website better. A lot of people get that confused in and itself. Your ad is just, the job is to purely get click-through. The more click-through you get, the more at-bats you get. And then, of course, your website is the one that decides whether you get a 300 batting average, 400, whatever it is. For that matter, though, in order to get highest click-through rate you can, the more simple you make it for the user in communicating what it is that they came for in the first place, the more clicks you're gonna get per dollar spent on ads. Given that the higher your click-through rate, the lower your cost per click is gonna be, the higher your ROI is gonna be. And also that you're opening up a higher percentage of the market when you get a higher click-through rate, as well as get Google to prefer to show you more, as well as Google get to prefer to show your ad bigger. We've had ads where it's the only ad that you see on the screen because they give us site link descriptions. Why? Because they realize their user experience and overall click-through on the ad space is highest if they just make our ad take over everything. All this stuff happens once you understand the basics of how to get an ad to actually get the high click-through rate itself, like we're doing at our firm. So the reason why you don't want to use the fancy verbiage, words, get cute, also use abbreviations, is because the harder one has to think in order to decide to click on your ad, the less people are going to respond to that ad and click through it. So for that matter, you want to ultimately, first of all, just to take a step backwards here, the 3 things that the user always needs to know, you got to know first and foremost, when you're actually even writing an ad, so you'll get 20% click-through rates, which is possible if you know what the hell you're doing. In some markets, not all markets, of course, but at least 10%, and regardless of the market you're in, you need to understand the 3 things that people need to know, and you need to communicate this clearly and easily for the user to get these click-through rates. And that is, they need to know, do you do what they came for? Do you cover their area? And this also applies to, of course, like national service companies, because a lot of people don't know you service their areas. So you want to communicate that up to them up front if it is there. For e-commerce businesses, isn't so much relevant itself, but is to a minor degree, given that people want to know they're dealing with a business in their country at least. And then also, can they trust you? Can you do it? You cover their area, can they trust you? The quicker you communicate these 3 things, the higher your click-through rate's gonna be. You can peg it at the top of the maximum click-through rate you can get if you communicate these 3 things way better than anybody else in the ad space that you're showing up next to in general, and then get Google on your side and want Google to send you as much freaking money as they possibly can. Again, by making your ad bigger, show up a higher percentage of the time, more site links, make it physically bigger, all of it. So for that matter, I've got a couple different examples, case studies here where we had a couple different ads where we had the client's ad that they built that they thought was the best ad to use. And then the ad that I wrote for them instead, they got much higher click-through rates. You can understand how to take something that you may think is good right now and might get above average click-through rates, given that the average click-through rate on a Google ad is around 4%. how you actually can get well beyond that, whatever you're getting, by simplifying the ad, so to say. So the first example here I have is in a market where we're selling air filtration devices. Very competitive market. Now, the example or target keyword here that we're talking about is the keyword air filters for sale. So a very competitive, very commercial term itself that we know, at least in this particular example, what they're after. They're looking to buy an air filter, period, flat out. And it's a little bit confusing too, though, because people might be looking for an air filter for their furnace or their car, even though this was a house system. Most people are searching for an air filter for their house when searching for this. For that matter, what the client had before, given that, again, the focus is on your ad to get a higher click-through rate is the headlines. The headline 1 and headline 2 being the main ones, given that the headline 3 normally doesn't show and very few people read the description. So if you're gonna get 10+% click-through rates, you gotta know how to use the headline 1 and headline 2 and not just throw a bunch of crap at the wall and then help Google find something that's gonna work, because that's not gonna get you the highest click-through rate 99% of the time. You gotta understand the formula that works. And the formula, and you don't have to figure it out for your own, because I've written thousands of ads now. I know what the formula basically is that gets the best results in Google Ads most of the time. So what the client did here was they had, for their keyword targeting air filters for sale, an ad that said carbon air filter, get the best air for home. Now that sounds great and everything, right? The mantra in marketing that are people that are in the know that you don't sell, as they say, drill bits. People want to buy the hole. You sell the hole that the drill bit makes. And that's what this company thought that they should do. They're telling the user that we sell air filters and you're going to get clean air for your house if you use our air filter itself. That's great. They've got that part of the formula down, yes. However, the bigger part of the formula here is they got to know, do you do it itself and can they trust you in order to decide to click on your ad? What we did to rectify this and make a new ad that's going to get the most click-through rate for them, not just some of it, is we had an ad that said air filter for sale. So we basically repeated back to them what it is that they were searching for. And then we told them that this is the #1 filter on the market, because they got to know that they could trust us. And if somebody sees that, they're thinking, well, I want the #1 filter on the market. And the trust is no longer a factor anymore, or at least at that surface level where they're going to go to the site and see what's going on, if you will. Even more so, by the way, than saying how many reviews you have and all that, because people assume all products have good reviews. So that's not really a great lead-in, even though occasionally that can work. It's much more powerful to say it's the #1 product on the market, or it's been voted #1 on the market, or it's been awarded as the #1 product on the market, something like that. Some other third-party authority, put their rubber stamp of approval after testing it, whatever. So that's what we did here. And what do you think the difference in click-through rate that we got? Simplifying the message. First of all, just telling them and regurgitating back to them what it is that they were searching for, so they know what we have, and more importantly, they don't have to think hard to know that we have something relevant for them, and then explaining this is the best product, and that's so you don't have to look any further. We went from a 4% click-through rate before to an 11% click-through rate after making that change itself. So almost tripled the click-through rate just by making that simple change and simplifying the ad for the user. And for Google Ads, of course, what works on Google Ads is not going to be the same thing that works on Facebook. It's not going to be the same thing that works on a banner ad. Why? Because let's say if we're talking about a Facebook ad, we need to capture attention quickly and get interest on Facebook. So saying that you could get crystal clean air for your home with this air filter, that actually is a little bit better suited, or is reasonably a good message on Facebook, because we need to get people's attention there that are not in market for the product. Whereas on Google, goal #1 is just to explain that we have what you're looking for. And the way that you do that, generally speaking, 98% of the time, is just to regurgitate to them back what it is they were searching for, which we call it in our space, in the Google Ads management space, as single keyword ad groups, where you write a custom handwritten ad for every keyword that you're targeting, so that the headline in the ad, first headline there, which you penned in the first position, has the exact keyword that they either typed in or a very, very close variant to that. So that as they're scrolling down the ads and deciding which one to pick from, your ad stands out as the obvious one to pick from if I'm not trying to think very hard as to which one of these actually does what I came for. People are half asleep, half paying attention when they're looking at the ads. They type in air filters for sale. They don't want to see an ad that says air filters here. They want to see air filters for sale, or at least that's what's going to get the highest click-through rate 98% of the time. I know because I use these single keyword ad group campaigns on every campaign I run, and I've ran thousands. I know this gets the highest click-through rate, which a lot of guys on YouTube, online now, are going to say to you, hey, that's not the best way to go. But I don't know what really necessarily why everybody's doing that, other than the fact that they're running agencies and they want to cut their costs, and they tell all their clients that they don't need that, so they don't have to run up their costs. They just want to run one ad for everything, practically speaking. Or they just really don't know what the hell's going on, and they're regurgitating what Google is going to tell them to do, one or the other. But I could tell you, and if anybody disputes me on this, I got a $10,000 bet that I can beat your ad that you run across your whole account with an ad custom written for that keyword because of what I'm telling you here. If anybody wants to bet me on this, leave me a comment down below. I'll put my $10,000 up in escrow, and I'll put on here. I'll put my money where my mouth is here. That's how much I know that this works. Of course, at our firm, we guarantee results for clients or we don't get paid. I have to do the stuff that works. This is the stuff that works the most. So not to say that, ultimately it works every time, but practically every time. And for that matter, if somebody types in, let's say, mattresses near me, you don't want an ad that says mattresses near me, because that, defeats the purpose of what you're doing here, which is to instill confidence and make people not think. If a user sees an ad with mattresses near me on it, they're going to say, oh, this looks like a computer wrote it. I'm skipping over it. So what you do in that case is you adapt a little bit and you put mattresses near you instead of near me. And that's the closest thing to regurgitating back to the user that's going to work in that particular scenario. Know that caveat going in. Beyond that, you just have to understand. So the first part of the headline is easy. It's already figured out. You either do the keyword or a close variation to the keyword, which is the direct keyword 80% of the time, and 20% of the time you adapt it a little bit. That's pretty much it. Then the second headline, which is the other part of the ad that people pay attention to in terms of 80% of what gives you the click-through rate you do, is the second headline. And the second headline you may have to test in order to find the best one. That is absolutely the case. But the more simple you can make the message, the better. You don't want to use fancy words. You don't want to use big words. You want to use simplistic language that gets right directly to the point and has specifics in it if possible. So if it has 12 horsepower, you don't say powerful. It has 12 plus horsepower, because the specifics make it seem interesting and substantial in and itself. Ultimately, in some occasions, you're going to say that on the second headline, you're going to say that this is 20% off for the Easter weekend, and that's going to get you the highest click-through rate. So there's different things on the second headline that's going to work for different markets. I can't, at least in this video, I'm going to have a follow-up video that talks about ad copywriting on the second headline. What's the best second headline to use for your market? Generally speaking, you want to make it as simple as possible, because that's generally going to make it work, but you still have to know what to say. But when you know what to say, the more simple you make it, the better your results. So, and for that matter, like if you're moving, instead of saying cheap moving, you say moving starting at $297. That you made it more simple for the user to understand, more clear for the user to understand. Therefore, they're going to click through at a higher rate. Just by doing that one little tweak there in terms of a moving company ad, we'll double our click-through rate just by going from cheap to $297, starting at $297. So you may not like a lot of your competitors doing this kind of stuff, but this is what works and this is why they're using it. Anyway, so this is a perfect example of how do you take something that's not really clear, best air for home. What is best? Does that mean it's cleaner, less particulates? Is it going to cause me to have less issues with my asthma? I don't really actually know. It sounds, to the person writing the ad, it sounds great, but they don't put themselves in the user's shoes on how they're actually thinking when they're scanning the ads on Google and they're trying to decide, is this the ad for me? No. Is this? No. Is this? No. So number one air filter on market, yes, you may say is a little bit vague in itself. It's like, well, it's number one in what way? But generally speaking, people associate number one with this is the best one. So at the very least, I should be looking at this, because if I didn't look at the best one, I would kick myself for not looking at the best one. That's why this actually got a higher click-through rate. And I know it, and it's one of my favorite tricks to use on a second headline in an ad. For that matter, I've got another example here though for you to really cement this home in a different market. This is a service market. We talked about product here itself. Before I dip into this though, if you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, you should. Go ahead and subscribe. I've got the best information on how to make money with Google ads, Facebook ads, and the rest of it. As I spend 40 hours a week doing ad strategy at our firm to learn all the best, latest, and greatest methods. So go ahead and subscribe. I've also got a great blog on my site where I document the strategies that we're using for our clients to guarantee the results as well. You can find that at guaranteeppc.com/blog. There's illustrations there, screenshots. I map out exactly how to use them. If you like the channel, you're going to like the blog as well. If you have any questions about anything I'm covering here, by the way, you can leave me a comment below. I get back to every single person who leaves me a question or comment on this channel, usually within 24 hours time. I also can answer any questions about any marketing related issues you have. I'm more than happy to answer any of those questions as well. Going into the second example here for the foundation repair service. So if your house has a foundation that's sinking, cracked, this company does it. It was a regional company that we worked with for a while. And for that matter, the case study here, we're talking about targeting the keyword foundation crack repair specifically. So like the last case study I gave you, I'm going to go over what the client had originally as far as their ad, what they thought was a good ad, and then what I knew would be a better ad that simplified what they were trying to say, clarified it, and therefore we got much higher click-through rates as a result. So what their ad was before on their first headline was, "We fix cracks foundations." And then the second headline they had was 5-star reviews. Okay. So overall, this isn't too bad. They got above average click-through rates with this, mainly because they didn't do what the other bozos are doing in that market, where if somebody's looking for foundation crack repair, they're saying, "We are a foundation company." So just by doing that alone, they got a higher than average click-through rate, but they stopped well short of what's possible because they didn't actually take that to the nth degree. So you may say, well, if somebody's looking for fix a crack in their foundation, simply saying, "Hey, we fix cracked foundations," is the best way to go. That again, this is actually kind of fundamentally how advertising works as a whole. When you're talking about the industry as a whole, when you're talking about Google search ads, it doesn't apply. It's its own animal. On Google search, you want to give the user the feeling that you are exactly what they're looking for. Not close, exactly. And when they're scanning the ads, they're going to click on the ad that's most of the time, 98% of the time, most closely matching what they originally searched for and how they specifically searched for it. And that's just how it is. I hate that it is that way because I have to create hundreds of ads in the markets that we're in to be able to get the highest click-through rates, but it gives us our edge because nobody else wants to do it. Everybody else is talking about how you don't have to do it. We know that it works, and it's turnkey extra click-through rate and profit when we do it as a result. So for that matter, instead of saying "we fix crack foundations," we just said foundation crack repair service. Given that the initial keyword is foundation crack repair, we say foundation crack repair service. So it directly matches how they searched for what they were searching for and confirm to the user on top of that we offer a service doing it, not we're offering a product that does it, etc. Okay. And then the second headline that we had that worked the best, we did try a few, was crack repair starting at only $9.99, which a lot of companies hate when their competitors do this because they don't want to give a price on their website or anything. Ultimately, it pisses the consumer off. I can tell you firsthand when you don't have a price on your website or on any of your ads. Yes, I get the idea that you want them to call so that you can have a chance to sell them before they see the price and they get the ick factor that it's too high and you never get a shot at them. I get that itself. But the middle ground here is you actually tell them what the starting price is. So you can still give them a price without boxing yourself in, and that'll get the maximum at-bats for your sales guy and therefore make you the most money at the end of the day without having to actually realistically give that price on the ad, even though you may say that's misleading, but you're not saying that's the price. You're saying the starting at. So there's a loophole there, if you will. So I know if you're $10,000, I don't recommend, obviously for ethical reasons, saying starting at $59 here. I'm not advocating for this, but all advertising that's great has puffery built into it to some degree. And if you're going to actually talk about only reality, and you're just throwing away most of your money that you could be making. I simply put, that's just the way that it is. Anyway, So the ad says foundation crack repair service, crack repair starting at only $9.99. It tells them right away that we do what they came for and that this is not going to be as expensive as people think, because we studied the market and we found out also through the testing, but also just studying the market, asking the client, reading our competitors' reviews and so forth. The number one thing that they want to know when they're searching for this is how much is it going to cost? They have no idea what it's going to cost. They're afraid it's going to cost way too much to fix. And if they could find somebody that would offer it at a reasonable price they can afford, they'll just go for it. So instead of screwing around, in addition to that, even saying that we're in their city on top of that, this actually worked the best. Because in a lot of cases for local services, it'll be the city name that gets the highest click-through rate. It'll be Foundation Crack Repair Service and then, Dallas itself, and that'll get the highest click-through rate. But in this market, that wasn't the case. So generally speaking, for a local service market, I recommend you test the location in the ad, because that's the second part of the formula people usually want to know. But also test having the second headline just to be value-based or offer-based in and itself, and just go both ways with it. So the second headline, you don't have it pinned. You rotate between the targeting and saying the city name in there, and then one with just a value proposition in there. Given that, and also, by the way, don't use location insertion. It sucks. It's not very reliable. Use an actual handwritten ad with the location in it. Therefore, you got to have different campaigns for each location in order to get the results that you want. But with that said, that took us from a 6% click-through rate to a 13% click-through rate. Just switching from that old ad that I mentioned, we fix cracked foundations, 5-star reviews, to Foundation Crack Repair Service, crack repair starting at only $9.99. Okay? So we're not talking about rocket science here. How do we identify what the person cares about and then putting that into our second headline? And our first headline just simply has to regurgitate what they were searching for, and we'll double, if not triple, our click-through rate like that. And I can tell you, if your click-through rate in a market like that is 13%, you're doing better than all your competitors, and Google's already going to favor you. And that one little thing tipped the scales from barely making anything to making millions a year in your market, period. Okay? It's really not complicated here. And of course, if you don't know how to do this, you're not confident about it, at the very least, you should call me up, do a consult with me, and I'll tell you if your ad's good or not before you even run it and waste time spending money testing it. Because I've ran so many of these ads now, I can pretty well tell if an ad's going to work or not just by looking at it or hearing about it. Or you just have me write the damn ad myself. Sorry, pardon my language here, but the reality is, the amount of money that I'm going to charge to write an ad that will probably double, triple your click-through rate right away, just like a drop in the bucket compared to the return on investment you're going to get from that. So anyway, if you want to speak with me, you can reach out to me at guaranteedppc.com. Also, of course, if you want us to manage your ads, write your ads, do the whole full-on done-for-you service where we guarantee your results, not charge any fees up front until we get you a certain amount of results, you can reach out to us for that as well. I also have ad templates available even to where if you're in a market we've been in, like foundation repair, air filter sales, we could sell you the winning ads, landing pages that already work for that market. And you just copy paste that into your ad account and get the same results we did. Been in over 100 different niche markets, so the chances are quite good. We've already got the results you're looking for. So I would recommend that ultimately you at least reach out and see what results we got in your market, because you can save yourself a lot of time. Templates are great to start a whole other business up, by the way. I mean, if you wanted to start a business from scratch, start with one of the templates we have. It's literally the easiest way to do it. It's like having a business in a box, effectively. Ultimately here, that kind of like sums up what I wanted to say. I could have gotten more into detail, like I said, about how to do, particularly the second headline, which is the other key part of your ad to get these kind of 10+% click-through rates. I'll have a subsequent video about this that I'm going to be posting this week. So you want to go ahead and check that out if you want a bit more information on how to do this in a practically speaking. But the main thing to get out of this video is that you don't want to get fancy with your Google ads. You just want to give them what they came for. And the clearer you make it as to you offer what they came for, the more click-through rate you're going to get. And the more you understand what they want and then making it absolutely crystal clear that they're going to get that, the more click-through rate you're going to get, simply put. So if you want to ultimately have a great offer for you and become partners, in that I'm looking for companies to partner with and invest in actually here at this time. We've invested in several companies recently where we give them ad spend, our expertise, and help setting up their ads. And in exchange, we'll take a percentage of their revenue in the future as a result of our efforts. With that said, we're taking an overall cut of the revenue. It's literally an actual business partner. We run all your ads. we get the ads going in the first place. We spend on the ads in the beginning, and we'll take 1 to 10% of the revenue increase in your business overall, given that we're going to not only just provide support on the ads, running all your ads for you, but also we're going to help you with the website, the landing pages, understanding how that needs to be set up, pricing strategy, some other stuff that ties in with it. Ultimately, if you have everything figured out but advertising, you're going to have the best advertising money can buy by just working through us, partnering that way. And for us, we get the best results for you as well because we can front end all of our work. We can invest so much in you up front, knowing that 10 years from now, you're going to have a big fat, cash out in your business when you sell it, and we're going to get that back. And that's what we're shooting for. So if you're interested in that, let me know at guaranteeppc.com. We'll have a conversation about it and see if it's something that we're interested in investing in. Typically, you got to be the best in class, and you just got to have a weakness in your advertising department, not you're a Me Too type product or a service. We're looking to work with you if you are. I also have a brand new group that I just opened up recently on Discord. You can find the Discord group link in the video description, where I've been answering questions in there. There's guys that are from this channel talking about the strategies we're talking about and doing on this particular video, on these videos I go over. And so if you want to talk with the other subscribers to this channel, you can do it there. There's a free PPC course in there that I put together for people who join the Discord, where it takes you from start to finish, how to set up a PPC campaign for your business that ultimately just will work and make you millions of dollars in your business over time, going through the process that we use to guarantee results for our clients. You can have that as a free gift for joining the group. With that said, I'm going to wrap everything up with that. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. If you want to see another video, click here. It is one of my best ones.